There is blind justice, and then there is trading justice, so that you can finally afford to get that laser eye surgery. Not only will people find you more attractive once you ditch those old glasses, you'll be able to see your charts better. That's what we call win-win. Speaking of winning, it's time for a little trading justice. Brought to you by TackleTrading.com.
Now, welcome out to our presentation here this morning. It is Monday morning, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and my name is Tim Justice. There's several things that I want to do today. I've had a very, very good weekend. In fact, a very, very good week in my own life, and I was thinking about it and what motivates people, and what motivates me, and what motivates my traders, my students, the people who attend my classes, the people who read my blogs and watch my videos on my website. And I kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts with you guys, and hopefully it can help you, move through your week and maybe give you some insights and maybe give you some direction as to where you're going. Maybe you already have all that. I hope so. That'd be great. Many people, when they start a new journey and when they start a new path, they don't necessarily have a vision on where they want to be. I ask them questions all the time, what do you want? Well, I want to make money. Okay, well, there's a million ways to make money. Why this path? Well, this was the path presented to me. Okay, so what part of the path are you going to focus on? Are you going to trade futures or Forex or options or stock? I think it's really important that we develop the ability to create a business model, be consistent with how we approach that model, be consistent with our daily routine, be consistent with the way that we just run our life. And I know that's hard. I know that there's struggle. Some days you get up and you got all the energy in the world. And other days you get up and you're like just fighting to get through your coffee and try to get some caffeine in you, right? So you can get going. That's life. That's the part of the human condition that we all share. I can assure you of that. In my experiences, that's life. It's hard to create stuff. But once you have it, it's empowering. And so if you put time into creating your business and developing your business, it will empower you. It will become a very valuable thing for you. Now, I want to share with you a message. I'm reading a book right now by Tony Robbins called Money, Master the Game, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom. And I recommend that every one of you go out and pick that up. It's just, anything Tony does is pretty powerful in my opinion, and it's a wonderful book. In fact, one of the things I love about Tony is his journey, his struggle, the things that he had to do to become a better person, to get the perspective he has. Rome's not built in a day, it takes time, and you're consistently growing and learning. I feel like that about myself as well. And in the foreword to the book, one of the authors of, I think it was the foreword, Mark Benioff from Salesforce.com, he talked about a model that he uses that I found really interesting. And I don't know if I'm just, out in the country somewhere and didn't know about this, but I thought it was really cool, and I want to share it with you. He calls this his V2MOM. Now, does anybody know what that is? V2MOM. Now, does anybody know who Mark Benioff is? Let me talk about it. Mark Benioff is the CEO of Salesforce.com. At 25 years old, he actually was an executive. I believe it was at IBM. Make sure you understand who we're talking about here. 2 F's, I guess. Here's the man right here. Very successful executive. Even him, he thinks of himself as a student of Tony's, though. I find that to be tremendous. The thing about Tony Robbins is he mentors the most wealthy and successful people that you can think of. He's on their power team. Even successful people have a power team. Even successful people need relationships that help them see the world in a different way, gain perspective, gain that little extra, je ne sais quoi, and I'm going to try to say that correctly. I know I don't speak French, believe me. I barely passed junior high school French when I took it. I think that was the teacher giving me a break at the time. But everybody needs a mentor. everybody needs a power team. It may be horizontal leadership, it may be vertical leadership, whatever you want to call it, but you need people that can help give you perspective. Just over the weekend, I was sitting around with one of the smartest people I know trying to brainstorm ideas. And I don't know if you've ever been in a brainstorming session where you're just throwing stuff against the wall and it's kind of good and you know there's something there, but you just keep driving and you keep driving and you keep thinking, and then you get tired and your brain gets tired and you have to sit back and relax and let your brain relax. And then you push again and you push again and you push again, and then eventually you have something brilliant. At least you think at the time. Well, then you got to keep coming back and you got to keep tweaking it and working it and working it and working it. I had that experience over the weekend 2 or 3 different times. You know, my mind has been on full creative mode now for about a week, and I got to tell you, when you get in a groove like that, you don't let that go. When you get in a groove in life where you're creating, you're developing, you're winning, you're succeeding, just stay right there in the pocket. Now, this Mark Benioff guy, he's the CEO of Salesforce.com. Salesforce.com is a $35 billion company. Okay? He's successful. He's a tremendous leader, a tremendous success, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to business. He actually had a CEO position at 25 years old. Now, you guys ask me this, or you guys answer me this. Just think out there if you're in the audience right now. If you were 25 years old, making $1 million a year, would you have the drive to take it to another level to create a $35 billion company? Or would you just be happy with $1 million a year? See, a lot of people think they want money, and they think that the reason people are successful is because they caught some break. No, they caught a break, and they turned it into another break, and they turned it into another break, and they turned it into another break. And that grease, that elbow grease, came from hard work. The real successful people in this world, they don't stop working. They don't just achieve success and then stop. They build a company and succeed, and then they keep pushing. Okay, there's a drive there that's beyond money. And as you're building your trading business, you need to examine that as well, right? You need to examine that as well. Is there a drive beyond money, right? It's not just continual growth. I think it's actually, at some level, spiritual. And whether it's spiritual or consciousness or self-actualization or whatever you want to call it, I really believe at some level, the reason people want to continue to build and grow and develop is that they're trying to achieve human completeness. They're trying to fill some void in their mind that this is what it is to be a human. This is what it is to be a person. I need to continue to improve. I need to continue to build. I need to continue to grow. You know, it's like Peyton Manning just recently lost a playoff game. He's 39 years old. Most people, I mean, just think about his life. You know, his dad was an NFL superstar quarterback, played for the New Orleans Saints in the 1970s, Archie Manning. He had 3 sons, I believe. 2 sons ended up playing in the NFL. A lot of guys, actually, when they make the NFL, it's too much work. Okay, there are players out there, NFL quarterbacks, that once they get drafted and they get that big paycheck, Jamarcus Russell, once they make the NFL, it's too much work. They can't put the work in. Here's Peyton Manning, like 39 years old, and he might come back for another year. He may not. But even after neck surgeries, where he's putting his body and his life on the line, why would somebody do that? He has hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's coming back for greatness, right? CEOs and successful people have the same mindset. Great traders have the same mindset. The goal is not simply money, it's greatness. I want you to think about that for a minute. The goal is not simply money, it's greatness. Many people think, well, I just need to be able to pay a bill. That's a good first goal. You have to start with that. But I think you got to want to wake up and do something really great with your time. You have to wake up with a drive that says, I want to be a great person. I want to achieve another level of consciousness. I want to understand the world in a way that most people don't. Because I know it's complicated out there, and if I can, I'm going to hit it. And I'm going to understand that in that way, that level, that mark, that whatever, and that's going to make me more complete. Not necessarily happy. Happy's not the right word. Okay, because you can be happy and be anything, right? I've got a lot of friends who are happy that just, 4 o'clock, the bell hits, their work bell, they go home, they shower, they hit the bar, they hit a couple of beers, they're happy, at least on the level, right? They go fishing, they enjoy it. Happiness is a different thing than success. They are completely separate. If you truly want to achieve success, separate it from happiness, because you're going to have to work and you're going to have to put yourself in the mud, misery, and really drive to actually achieve success. Now, I may not be painting a very fun picture, but I'm painting the right picture. Because what it comes back to is what drives me. What makes me want to become great? And it gets back to this thing with Mark Benioff. I was reading the foreword. I went back and read the foreword of this book. I'm almost through Tony's book. It's tremendous. He talked about this V2 MOM thing. And Mark is a successful CEO, builds a $35 billion company, was making $1 million a year as a 25-year-old CEO, or vice president. I think it was IBM, if I remember right. I'll have to go back and look that up to be sure. So what drove him? Right? It really made me think, and there were 5 points that he talked about. The first one was vision. Okay? Whenever you start a project, you have to have a vision of what that project will become. That is very important. Why is it you've started your trading business? I want you to take a moment and think about that. What is your vision? Do you want to be able to kick back with some boat drinks and some, with some sandals on in the beach? Do you want to have control? Do you want to be able to generate capital so you can grow something else? Do you want to give back to charity? What is your vision? Do you want to be able to provide education to your kids? Do you want to just feel like you're going to avoid some impending problem that the world's going to deal with? What is your true vision? Are you trying to build a bomb shelter? Are you trying to build a palace? Are you trying to build a reception hall, right? What is your vision? Think about that. Everybody's going to have a different vision. But this was the first thing that Mark talked about in his thing. We'll go through each one of these once I'm done. The 2 are actually 2 different things. And I'll have to actually open up, but it's values. So the 2 V's, V2 MOM, is because there's 2 V's. Values. What are your values? Right? What matters to you? Does it matter? Is it very important to you that you don't invest in certain companies? That you don't put yourself beyond a certain level of stress? That you don't put a certain amount of capital at risk? Why are we starting this project? Vision, values. Values may be beyond even what I'm talking about here. You might have a different interpretation of the word values. Don't let me steer you on this. I'm relaying to you something that really made me think and inspired me. Okay, M, methods. How are you going to achieve what you want to achieve? In the world of trading and investing, are you going to trade every day? Are you going to play a 20 delta when you do naked puts? Are you going to surround yourself with mentors? Are you networking? Are you building the right power team? Think about it. Can you name 5 people that you could get a hold of for help, guidance, and advice right now? If not, you're not building a power team. Right? You need to continue to build and improve upon everything in your life, every little facet of your life. Vision, values, methods. Now, what are your obstacles? Obstacles. Now, to me, obstacles in education are sometimes content. Sometimes they are time. It may be that we don't know how to use software. It might be a physical limitation on how to use the actual software. It could be even internal. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to go through each one step at a time. Okay, and the next one are measurements. How do you measure success? How do you measure success? I've spent a great deal of my life around successful people, in different forms and fashions. Spiritually successful, emotionally successful, physically successful. I grew up around, my dad is one of the greatest high school athletes that the state of Utah has ever seen. I used to walk into a gym in southern Utah. When I was in college, I went to college in Cedar City, Utah, Southern Utah University. And one of the ways I paid my rent when I was in college was I used to referee basketball, football, and baseball games. Because I knew sports, I had grown up around sports, I had played team sports since I was as old as I was conscious, as old as I could remember. They strapped a helmet on me when I was in little pee-wee football. I got all the old pictures on Throwback Thursday. I'll have to put them up on the Instagram or the Twitter or the Facebook or whatever social media thing people use. I remember being around sports, and I remember walking into a gym, and here I am, 300 miles from where I grew up. Literally, think about 300 physical miles. Here I'm 300 miles from where I grew up, and I walk up to the scorer's table, and this guy has never seen me in his life. And he looks at his scorebook, and usually in these old high school gyms, there's always one guy keeping score, and he probably keeps score every game. He loves it. It's like his life. And he sees my name. He says, Tim Justice. He says, is your dad Mark Justice? I said, he sure is, yeah. He says, well, I'll tell you, son, in 1968, he walked into this gym and dropped 37 points on the Penguins, Panthers, or Tigers, whatever they were. And I just thought, wow, that's impressive. And that's unbelievable that people remember that. I've been around really great people. There are business owners. Some of my best friends growing up, they had fathers that just have blue-collar grit, elbow grease. They built construction business and mining businesses and road developing businesses and financial businesses and law firms and all that kind of thing. They didn't come necessarily from that. They built it from the ground up. My best friend in the world, his dad started a company with his brother, construction company, and it was recently featured in our local newspaper in Utah. It's like a $300 million company, I believe, or something like that. I don't know what the market cap is, but it's huge. 30 years of hard work and dedication and blue-collar work ethic, right? I've been around great people. Even after I left that area, I had the good fortune of getting into this industry and surrounding myself with people like Russ Whitney, who built a real estate empire and has had tremendous success. People like Andy Tanner, people like Robert Kiyosaki, wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've had the good fortune of having lunch and sitting with Robert and being able to pick his brain and understand him as a human being a little bit more. I've been around great people. I'm also a great person, right? How do you measure success? That's internal. See, if you're waiting for the external measurement, I think that's a mistake. We have to define this on our own. What Mark Benioff is saying with this V2MOM is that you write it. What is your vision? What are your values? What are your methods going to be? What obstacles do you face? And how do you measure whether or not you achieve all of this vision to begin with? It's a process. It goes back to something that I've learned in mentoring from early on. I've been working with people for a very long time. Since 2005, I've been training people in either coaching or phone coaching or trading labs or coaches shows or blogs or, a million different ways, mentoring. I've had hundreds of people in my office working with them one-on-one. People with all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different backgrounds about the way they see the world, politically, spiritually, consciously, different ages, like people in their 70s, people in their 60s, people at retirement, people in their 20s. I've worked with kids that are just out of high school. I've worked with so many different perspectives. I believe I have a very unique perspective on how the mind works, especially how the mind works when people are learning and learning under stress. Because let's face it, when you drop $30,000 on education, whether it's a Harvard degree or whether you're going to community college or whether you want to go back and build a business or whether you're trying to trade, whatever it is, when you put money on the line, you're putting pressure on yourself that you've got to fulfill it, right? Okay? You know, and I've seen people work under pressure. How do they work? I've seen people break down. Not very often, but I've seen people break down emotionally. You know, I had a gentleman in my office one time, and he just couldn't quite get something. And I kept saying, okay, let's go for a walk. Let's get out of this office for 5 minutes. He's like, no, I got to do this. And I'm like, oh, we got to go for a walk. We got to get you out of this office. Your brain is not functioning. And he literally, he would not move. He would not budge. He's a big guy. The idea of walking around the block to reset his brain didn't make any sense to him. But you know what happened is I finally convinced him. I said, listen, I'm going for a walk. You can sit there and you can slam your head against that computer screen for another 10 minutes if you want. But I know what's best, and I'm going to go for a walk. And if you join me, I can guarantee you better results. We literally walked around the block, 5 minutes. We came back, we sat down, and he figured out how to do what he had been trying to do for the last 3 hours in about 60 seconds. You know, as a mentor, I have a unique perspective. That perspective is not just about being able to tell you what a stop loss is or to tell you what an option is. When you're developing relationships with your mentors, you should tap into their perspective, not just their knowledge. Now, both is important, but you should tap into their perspective. You should say, dude, what do you know about the world? What do you know about trading? What do you know? What do you think about me that would help me become more successful? Vision. Vision is important. From day one, you need to know what you're trying to achieve. If this waffles, it's a problem. You're much less likely to achieve success. Now, you might fall into a system accidentally, but it's a much lower probability. Spend some time and develop your vision as to what you want to achieve. Okay, this has to be yours, right? Now, you might think, oh, this is all, just voodoo. It's hoodoo. I already know what I want. I just want to make money. Well, why? Think about Mark Benioff that I'm talking about. Think about Tony Robbins. Think about successful people that are driven. Think about your boss. Why does your boss get up and try to grow his company? Think about him outside of the lens of you not liking that he makes you work or you not liking the way he deals with you or she deals with you. That was very sexist that I said he. I have to catch myself. I'm a liberal. Okay, I got to even tell myself as a white liberal male that, you got to catch yourself sometimes and tell myself not to be not to think that way. Right? Shouldn't just be a he. It could definitely and should definitely be more she's. I've got 3 daughters, so I'm trying to empower women to become more successful. There's no question about that. And I would hope you would join me on that. But anyway, back to this. Vision. What is yours? What makes people successful? I can speak to mine. The thing that drives me more than anything else, my vision for myself, is to always be in control of my time, my decision making, my choices. Okay? I want control. And I want to put myself in a position where I can continue to grow as a human being, as a father, as a husband, as a person in society. It's not just internal. Some people who think that the world is Hobbesian, and you have to be a political science nerd to know what I'm talking about there, that the state of nature is truly archaic, I don't agree with that. I believe that people are genuinely good. I think the human condition and the raw state of who we are as human does not have to be just what we were, say, 300 years ago when we were living in clans, or 5,000 years ago when we were living in villages. I think we can grow as human beings. My vision is to make sure that I allow myself to continue to be the kind of person I want to be. Now, money is a part of that. I like money. I want to build my wealth as well. I want to build my knowledge. Part of my vision as well is to make sure I'm in a position so that when things happen in this world, I don't ever become a victim. I've always had that instinct. I'm not a victim. Okay? Don't tell me I'm a victim. I'm in charge of myself. I don't know if you guys share that with me, but that's the way I think of the world. I want to be in charge. I want to be the one driving the car. I want to be the one, and leave me alone sometimes, right? But I want to be the one growing intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, my consciousness, those kind of things. That's part of my vision. Now, each business may take on a different vision. For me individually, I'm not trying to grow one business. I'm trying to grow as a person. Values. What are my values? Well, my number one value is how do I treat people? And would I hold myself to the standard that if my grandmother was watching me, did I do the right thing? Okay? That's now I'm getting real deep, real Freudian on you here, but that's part of it. It goes back to the way I see myself. I want to build businesses that help people. One of the reasons I really am trying to grow, the consciousness of traders is because I think that the more we know about money, the better off we'll be. To me, it's global. To me, it's something that if I can talk to somebody in Africa, in Nigeria, which, by the way, I have students there, or in South Africa, or in Warsaw, Poland, or in Hong Kong, or in Australia, or Beijing, or Tokyo, or London. And by the way, I have students in all of those locations. And I can help them become more knowledgeable, have a better understanding of markets and money and life. God, I've done more than I would have thought I could. I'm just a kid from a small town. The idea that I would ever connect globally on that level, it's pretty humbling. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I just think, well, I'm sitting here behind a computer desk, but if you think about the reach of technology, it's incredible. Now, not everybody's going to share my vision or my values. You're going to have to come up with your own. What are your methods? Well, for me, I have to run my trading account every day. I have to set my to-do list for my businesses. I have to hit my marks. I personally am trying to grow and develop teams, in different areas, in different forms and fashions. I want to continue to network. I want to continue to improve my communication skills. My methods are kind of dialed in with trading, but you can't always, just put it on cruise control and then let it go for years and years without having to come back and revisit it. Every good trader I know, by the way, guys, they review their methods and might make small tweaks to them over the years. If you're still trading the same exact strategies, now the names of the strategies might be the same, but the method that you were 10 years ago, you're probably not doing that well. Good trading requires, it's like driving. You're generally going in a direction, but you've got to keep your hands on the wheel so that you can make sure you're making those small adjustments. You can hit the brakes when needed. You can avoid problems when needed. All right, what are my obstacles? Well, personally, my only obstacle, I believe, is consciousness. The ability to think outside of the framework that I'm currently in. I think of people like Mark Benioff. I think of people like, Tony Robbins. I think of people like Robert Kiyosaki. People like Jim Francis. People that inspire me to think about the world in a bigger, more complex, and more opportunistic way. My obstacles are not necessarily time or physical. I will work, and I'll work, and I'll work, and I'll work. Hard work doesn't always necessarily get you what you need, though. See, you can wake up at the crack of dawn, and you can work all day long until you're physically so tired you have to sleep. It won't necessarily achieve, right? Hard work isn't necessarily it. You also need the right guidance, the right training, the right context, the right education. When I started trading, it was because I needed a job. 2005, I was getting out of college. I moved up to Salt Lake City, Utah to try to be around my girlfriend, who is now my wife, and I needed a job. Here I am, a college, kid coming out of college, and I don't have money, right? I have some money. I can get by. I know how to float myself. I'm kind of a wanderer. I can hang out in an apartment, get a part-time job, ref games. I used to play poker, but that was going away. I needed a job. And here came trading falling in my lap. I thought, wow, here's a job. I can work from home. Holy cow. This is awesome. Now I've fixed a problem. Here was a problem. I needed income. I have a solution. Trading is income. I don't think about trading like that anymore. My vision is not to wake up and create a day's wage. Okay, now it may be your vision. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. Your vision's yours. Hold it to your chest. Make it yours, okay? Your vision is yours. But when I wake up, I'm trying to build a mindset. I'm trying to build an entire way of living, an entire way of sharing myself with the universe and making money while I do it. See, and I know it's a different thing, but I've been doing this a long time. And there's a lot of traders I know who still, after 20 years, they wake up and try to make a day's wage. I don't think like that anymore. Okay, what are my obstacles? Really, it's been mindset, but I think that's changing. How do I measure success? That's the hard one. I think I measure success internally in terms of, can I continue to improve as a human being? Is what I'm doing in my vision putting me on a path to allow me to become a better person all the time with better context, consciousness, relationships, friendships, listening skills. As a mentor, you get one angle of it, but there's this thing called horizontal leadership. See, I think a lot of people, I just heard about this. There's a national championship game tonight. There's what we call horizontal leadership, where you have the coach and the player. And what the coach tries to do is tries to treat the player with the exact same respect and awareness and understanding that this player can also teach me something coming back. That's always been how I approach mentoring. I never heard it called that. Horizontal leadership, horizontal management, whatever you want to call it. I've never thought of myself as a mentor as somebody who is going to just tell you how to think. Okay? I'm not. Because how you already are wired comes from a lifetime of experiences. That's where listening skills are critical. You don't ever just come in and rubber stamp something and say, boom, this is what you need to do every single time, right? Trader A, you have to sell naked puts, or Trader B, you have to be a Forex day trader. I never understood that. I never understood a mentor who said, guys, this is the way I do it, so you have to do it this way. I think that's a disservice to their student. I believe that you need horizontal relationships with your power team. When I walk into a room, I don't care who's in that room. I'm going to treat them with respect, and if they don't treat me with respect, if they treat me vertically, if they say, okay, here's somebody that's lower than me, I've already lost respect for them. I don't care if they've got $1 billion. I don't think you're a better human being than me. Now, that's a confidence I have because that's the way I think of the world, right? I would challenge you to think of yourself that way. No, we're all in this together. We're trying to grow together, all right? Now, back to, and maybe my final thought on this, my challenge to you is to write out your own V2 MOM, Mark Benioff. Vision, values, method, obstacles, and measurements for your trading business. I want you to spend some time here, and I want you to write that out. Take the next 20 minutes and just write down a quick rough draft. Start to really empower yourself with the right mindset. I think that's critical. You've been listening to the Trading Justice podcast presented by Tackle Trading. Go out there and check us out at the website, www.tackletrading.com. Tim, you've been talking a little bit just about your journey and about some of the other stories that kind of influenced you. Give me 30 seconds wrap up here, and then we'll pick a song to end out on.
Well, Matt, I've been a mentor for new students, stock mentor student, options, everything, mindset. And I've been doing that for 10 years. And a lot of people, they think that what they need is to be shown how to click buttons. And sometimes that's true. But one of the most important things I really believe is that you do have to have that vision. You have to have a roadmap that you've already planned out, that you know where you're going, so that when you're moving forward, you're going to have challenging days, that you not only get through them, but you wake up the next day and you're even that much more productive. If you have a destination in mind, where you have a plan of where you're moving, why, and how you're going to achieve it, you're much more likely to achieve success.
Yeah, love it. We've talked a little bit about Noah's story. We've talked about Gino's story, the coaches over there at Tackle Trading. It's good to hear your story as well. Obviously, I know it since I came up with you in this business we call trading. Started each other in 2005. Been business partners, trading partners ever since then. And you have a fantastic story, Tim. And it's from where you came from to where you are today. I know I feel this way, and I know you feel this way. It's an amazing journey. It's an amazing journey to look back the last 15, 20 years and think about where we were then versus where we are today. And did you ever even fathom the possibility that 15 years or 10 years after you graduated school, you would be one of the best financial trading mentors in the industry?
Oh, I didn't even plan on this being my path, Matt. I would have rather played poker and played golf. Stocks and money were always something I was interested in. But it really, when I started, it was just to be able to make a day's wage.
Yeah.
And my mindset has completely changed. And, honestly, based on that, understanding growth, understanding that business people, entrepreneurs with the correct mindset, they're always thinking about growth. I'm not too worried about what happened in the past. It's interesting to look back. I'm really thinking about what's next for me. What's next not only for me as a trader, but as a person, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. The sky's the limit. I have all the energy in the world. I have all the time that anybody else has. I have 24 hours in a day. One of my goals is to become more productive, more efficient, and build teams, because you can't do everything alone, and you can't just sit there and work 24 hours a day without thinking about productivity. There are better ways to do stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about the team at Tackle Trading. The pro members over there that are getting the scouting report, attending the coaches show. I'm excited to see what they're doing, and I'm more than committed to helping them. Mm-hmm. And I hope they feel the same way, because horizontal leadership is something I completely believe in.
No,
you treat
I
people
agree.
with respect, and they can give a lot back to your life as well.
No, I agree 100% completely, Tim. You look at just random, normal, everyday people's lives, the people that are in your life, the people in my life, friends, family, associates, partners, business, otherwise. Most people in life, for one reason or the other, just simply do not want you as an individual to be more successful than them. Would you agree with that?
A lot of people are. I think jealousy is one of the most difficult emotions that human beings deal with.
Yeah, and, I agree.
We've got to tackle that.
Absolutely. I mean, my entire take on that is there's enough money in the market for all of us. There's enough money out there for all of us to have a great life, be successful, and you got to surround yourself with people. I think that's one of the number one keys to success, and one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing at Tackle Training is it's being successful has nothing to do with the individual. I truly do believe that. We work hard and whatnot, but ultimate success takes a team. Ultimate success takes people around you that are willing to drive you, are willing to do whatever it takes for not only you to be successful, but them as well. And that's what I absolutely love about Tackle Trading.
You have to be a team builder. Even, let's take examples of what would seemingly be an individual achievement, like becoming a great golfer. Tiger
Yeah.
Woods. Even at the peak of Tiger Woods' career, do you think that he was balancing his own checkbook? Or was he out there, hitting putts?
I would hope not. I would hope he
Right?
was not balancing his own checkbook back there.
That's right. He had swing coaches. He had psychologists. I'm sure he had therapists. Most, even on the outward, somebody who it looks like all they have to do is show up and be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It does require a team. There's always a team there. Trading is the kind of thing I think some people get appealed to it because, I can just trade from my house. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't like shaking hands. I'm anti. No. You have to build a team to be successful at almost anything in life. If you want to take something, you can always achieve some success on your own as the lone wolf.
Yeah.
But if you really want to achieve greatness, you have to have a pack. The lone wolf gets picked off, Matt.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that 100%. Well, like I said, Tim, it was excellent to kind of listen to that. Obviously, that was kind of your podcast there. But everybody, you've been listening to episode number 56, Tim, of the Trading Justice podcast presented by Tackle Trading. Once again, check us out on iTunes. Subscribe to the podcast. Get automatic downloads. Tim, what's your favorite podcasting app to kind of wrap this up here?
My podcast app I use is called Podcast Republic because I have a Galaxy through Samsung, and it's really slick. I
Real
like
slick?
it. I can download straight to my phone. It's nice. Podcast Republic.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. I use a Pod Cruncher because I have iTunes, so I use Pod Cruncher, and that's pretty much the easiest way to listen to the podcast, guys. Just download right to your cell phone and listen as you're on the go. Plug it into your car on the drive, and whatever it takes. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast episode 56. We're signing off here.
You've been listening to the Trading Justice podcast. If you've enjoyed yourself and think that the conversations and topics we've covered are important, help spread the word. Give us your feedback. 5 stars on iTunes, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. The Trading Justice podcast is proudly sponsored by TackleTrading.com. Get off the sidelines and get in the game.